it would make more sense.
Well, okay, so if you take it, like, try to think of examples that might be occurring right now, like predictive programming that's occurring now. One thing that I've seen a lot, and like this is very far-fetched and it is playing into my fear of a possible zombie apocalypse, but zombie apocalyptic situations have become very popular of late. And so maybe the government is trying to get us ready because they know that there's some sort of possible biological warfare that could turn it into a similar situation of a zombie apocalypse. Another one I read was robots.
Yeah.
They're starting to incorporate more, like, the idea that robots can have their own, like, thought processes and, like, it might get dangerous because maybe they have that technology and they want to start introducing, like, I don't know what you would call it, like, people don't call it robots ananymore, like AI technology.
Yeah, AI. We should do an episode about that because I think that's really interesting. I don't like how much we're developing AI technology and how we're trying to develop these really human-like robots. I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, did you watch, there's a video I saw on Twitter of this robot walking around like a human, like upright. It looked like a person. It was really creepy. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go burrow into the ground now and live there forever.
We should do an episode about that. I have a lot to say on that subject.
Okay, possibly to come episode about robots. And another one is dystopian, like, totalitarian governments in movies and shows, such as we were talking about The Handmaid's Tale and, like, Hunger Games and things like that. But the only thing I would say against that is, and this was one of the things that I read that kind of debunks this whole theory, is that people mimic other people. They don't mimic scenarios. So, like, for example, if you show a child a video of an adult walking into a room and hitting a clown, and then you show another child, an adult walking into a room and not hitting the clown, the child that saw the adult hitting the clown is going to go in and hit it, but that's because that's the adult, or the action that the adult took. That has nothing to do with the clown itself. So if they're showing us these movies where a totalitarian government takes over and it romanticizes the rebels and shows them fighting the good fight and the powers that be and all of that, they wouldn't want that. Like, they wouldn't plant that into our mind. They would want to plant into our mind, like, you need to submit, you need to prepare to, like, accept this government. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I would say would, like, debunk that part of it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think maybe it would just be too obvious if we were only seeing movies and television shows and media where there's this, like, utopian society and it's a totalitarian government. So I don't know. I think there's definitely like two sides, not only too many sides at work, and yeah, the government is just one of them. But
it might not even be the government. It could be
it might not even be the government.
Ruling power that we're not aware of, such as the 5 families.
Exactly.
Just this really, like, this bigger superpower that we don't realize is the one thing I would say is I really think this exists, but I think it exists on a smaller scale. So
the predictive programming?
So I think that they try to get us ready for things like tax reform and shifts in technology that might be shocking. Like, I always just assume that whenever I see like a release of new technology that's been developed, multiply that by like 5 and that's what actually exists. Because they're obviously not going to show us like the most developed technology that they have. So, like, for example, implants, like that tracking implants that you can, like, it's your card, it's like your credit card, it's your ID, it's everything that they want to implant to your arm. It's like your employee badge to get into your building. They are actually starting to do that. Have you seen videos about that?
No, but I really don't like that.
There's a company that has that. They're putting implants into their employees' hands.
Why?
It's just like it's a form of convenience. And so they're starting, you see that in movies and in comics and in like futuristic things, but it's all to get us ready because that is a very, like, possible reality.
Oh, it's definitely possible.
Or something like an implant.
It's definitely possible. I'm just going to say my dad has warned me about that, like,
Implants?
literally my whole life. He has always told me, this is going to get a little weird, but I don't know if I want to say this on the podcast. I'll tell you this later.
Pause.
Okay.
Yeah, no, just tell me now. I can cut it out.
Well, my dad has always warned me about in the Bible, in Revelation, which is the chapter about the end times, the apocalypse, there is a section that says, if the government ever tries to give you a mark with which you cannot buy or sell without it, so, for example, your bank card's in an implant in your wrist, you must use it for payment, you can't buy or sell without it.
Yeah.
They call that the mark of the beast, and that's how you know the end times are upon us. That's what the Bible says.
Like the apocalypse end times?
Like Jesus is coming back to, like, the Antichrist is in the world. That's all in
That's in the Bible?
Yeah. It's in the
Wait,
Bible.
why can't I leave this in? This is interesting.
Okay, you can leave this in. I just didn't know if I sounded like a crazy person. But,
no, it's so interesting.
Yeah, so
I've never read the Bible, so I wouldn't know that this is in there, but
yeah, in the book
it might not necessarily be true, but
yeah, I'm not telling everyone to believe this.
I wonder why they think that.
In the book,
like, what's the logic behind it?
Wait, who thinks what?
What's the logic behind, like, when you're being marked?
Oh,
and it's
the logic.
To use...
So basically, the Bible says in the end times there will be an Antichrist in the world who will, like, parade himself as a Christ-like figure, but he's actually Satan himself in the world, and this person is most likely going to create some type of new world order government in which you must receive the mark, and the mark of the beast is a big part of the end times in Revelation, and the mark of the beast is a mark on your body, and you won't be able to buy or sell without it, but if you accept this mark of the beast, like, you basically can't get into heaven because you've accepted the mark of the beast, which is Satan. But it says specifically, if you ever are told to receive this mark that you can't buy or sell, then don't do it.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
The tattoos that Nazi prisoners would receive. Not Nazi prisoners. Nazi prisoners.
Yeah, and when you think of a mark, you really think of a tattoo most of the time. But it could also be something where...
some way of, like, branding you.
Yeah, the thing that reminds me so much of, like, it now is you can't buy or sell without it. So it reminds me of your banking information and your payment.
I was just about to say, or like social security number or something like that.
Or if we ever transition to a cashless society where you can't use cash anymore, it's all through your bank account electronically. That's the next step.
I think that will happen.
I agree. And once we get there, then it's only a few steps further that maybe we're having, like, with all of the, like, bio
You do
data.
sound a little nuts, but it's in
I know.
a way.
But it makes sense when you think about it and just the connections. And
so every time we talk about something like this, I think of, like, I think I've said it before, and I've told you before for sure, is that, my brother told me one time that if I was born in the 70s, I would have joined a cult or a commune, because I just, like, hop on board to whatever, like, the mainstream people are doing. Like, I think it's different if it's, like, forced. Like, I know we talked about it already, but, like, The Handmaid's Tale, if they were forced something on us, like, they forced the girls to get rid of their bank accounts, I would be like, hell no, like, I'm not doing this. But if it was something like everyone was doing it and it seemed like it was for the betterment, then I kind of am, like, persuaded very easily, which is definitely not a good thing.
Right, yeah, and that just makes me think, like, you wouldn't be the only person who would be opposed if they made all women give up their bank accounts, but at that point, it's too late to turn back, because all, like, along the way to that point, maybe they're introducing new technology and you are persuaded, you're not forced, but they say, if you do this, it will make your life so much easier, so why not? And you're like, okay, yeah, sounds like it'll make my life easier and be more convenient, so I'll just do it, even though you're not being forced. So you kind of just get convinced all the way up to that point where they say, okay, now we have complete control.
Bounce sooner than that happened? You think you would have picked up the signs? Yeah.
Personally?
Yes.
I think so. It's just hard to say because, like, growing up in this time with technology and with business and the way that I handle my banking and my payments, it's all electronic, and it's hard to tell. It really is hard to tell where to draw the line. Yeah. So I know for a fact that I would never get anything implanted into my body. That's where I draw the line. I do say that now. That's where I draw the line, but up until then it's really hard because, like, with the Touch ID and the Face ID thing, I have no problem giving Apple my fingerprints and my face scan. Right.
And I think of this a lot whenever, like, topics like this come up, but, like, in an event of, like, an apocalypse, I like to ask this question in, like, social situations when no one has anything good to talk about. Who would be in your, like, apocalypse group? Like, I know if you had to pick, like, 5 people to, like, be in your group, you would be one of them because you're, like, the hyper aware and, like, know when shit's going down.
Thank you. I'm very honored. Useful.
Yes, and then probably my dad and my brother because they bring skills that I do not have, such as, like, fighting for my brother, and my dad knows how to fix, like, everything, and he's very resourceful, so you gotta think. And you can't pick people like, I would pick the world champion of backcountry hiking or something like that. Like, obviously, but it has to be someone that you know. Right.
Yeah. So, okay. I would also have you on my apocalypse crew.
Combine forces.
Yeah, we're going to combine our two because I think it would just be better to have more heads together. But anyway, you are very level-headed and you don't freak out in crisis situations, so I think that's very useful.
I can compartmentalize my emotions.
Yes, that's great. So I would also choose my dad. He's the most prepared person I know for something like this. He's very smart and resourceful.
Think he has a bunker somewhere?
No, I think I would know about it. If he does have a bunker, if he does have a bunker somewhere, I'm not going to say it on our podcast because
it's supposed to be secret.
Yeah. But
I wonder how many, like, rich people have bunkers.
I wonder that too.
Like, it's got to be like, I bet Elon Musk has a bunker. I bet he does. Or a spaceship that just shoots him into space.
He's gotta. But have you heard the theory that there's a bunker for the world's elite underneath the Denver, Colorado airport?
No, but I've heard so many freaking theories about that airport.
Yeah, we should talk about that on an episode. But anyway.
So many topics to cover. It's a little time.
I don't know. I would have my... I'm not going to abandon my family,
Who's the elite? Wait, who's the world's elite? Like, who would you consider? Like, do they count, like, celebrities in it? Like, with the Kardashians?
Like, the top 5 families in there.
Oh, okay. So, like, not like, I'm a celebrity. Like, I literally have... control like 30% of the world's wealth.
No one cares about celebrities. Like,
right?
What do they do besides sell flat tummy tea on Instagram? They can just
true though, very true.
But no, I think the bunkers are for the people who may be the ones instigating a world apocalypse type scenario.
Oh God. I can't wait to talk about The Handmaid's Tale. There's the theory of, like, I can't remember his name, but there's a character in The Handmaid's Tale, and I don't think he was in the book, because he was only in season 2 of the show. But his character is compared to the creator of the atomic bomb. So he created Gilead. He was like the mastermind behind, like, the economy of Gilead and how it functioned, and they compare him to the creator of the atomic bomb. So he creates it, but then he steps back and he's like, what have I done? Like, what did I bring into this world? And he, like, contemplates it. So I wonder if ever something happened like that, and the guy whoever it is, girl, person, organization that caused the world to implode on itself, like, would you feel guilty? Or would you just be like, I have the money and resources to hide in a bunker, I don't care what happens to everyone else?
No, I think it just depends on the type of person you are. And I'm sure there are people that have good intentions that create their inventions or whatever that get into the wrong hands, and then that's never their intention. But The road to hell is paved with good intentions.